Hi, everybody. I'm here live from our Airstream workshop. I was going to try and do this on my laptop, but I don't know. Something went wonky and I'm not used to it. So here we are back at the old phone. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I know it may take a little while for people to realize that this is part of the chocolate and coffee pairing adventure. So here we are. Um, Yes, it's hot out. It is going to be up into 111 degrees today. So I'm standing in the shade of this lovely tree, and there's a breeze. And probably as soon as we're done doing this, we're going to go find air conditioning. Anyway, I wanted to be outside to give something, try something new. I mean, hello, everybody. I am your adventure mindset mentor, Stacey. And it is my goal to help you learn how to do things differently or see familiar things in new ways and uh, spark your curiosity by trying things. So that's why I'm going to try and do it with chocolate. I love chocolate. Chocolate is my spirit animal, the cacao bean. All right, cacao bean. This is a cacao pod, and inside are the seeds, which are actually, people call them beans because they look so much like beans. But, and here is my coffee. It's actually very cold coffee. I made it, but I did not put ice in it. But, oh, there we are. Sorry about that. My phone went wonky for a minute. I hope you all still there. Um, it says I have poor internet connection, but I have the same as always. So hopefully we'll get through this and you'll see it all and learn new things. All right, so coffee and chocolate pairing. Ta-da! The goal with any kind of food pairing is to get that 1 + 1 = 3, that wow factor. So it doesn't always happen. That's the adventure of it. So, sometimes flavors don't get together very well, but that's the goal. And if there's any children listening in, cover their ears because the word is that I love is that you're with chocolate and any kind of pairing, but chocolate and coffee, you want to get that mouthgasm. That, whoa, this tastes fabulous. So, all right. So the pairing setup. I'm going to show you. These are lovely things that I have. One is called the chocolate flavor wheel, and then we also have the official, and I did not get them laminated, coffee flavor wheel. Now these are just descriptors. They are ways to help give you words to what it is that you're tasting, and oftentimes, you want to have complementary flavors or synergistic flavors or things that you would not imagine go together, and they do. So that is it. So the setup. I started with this coffee. This is what I'm having today. It is a mom friend of mine. I belong to a network of mom-owned businesses, and there's a mom up in Hillsborough, which is outside of Portland, Elliot and Murray. Her name is Carrie Elliott, and she's a coffee roaster. And she says she sources her own beans, and often I think they come from Vietnam, and I forget where else she said. And I was actually supposed to be up at her roastery today, but because it's going to be 111 degrees, we decided against it. But I ordered her sample pack to do all the research. So she has this one's called Whoa Dude, Cedar Mill, and then Yukon Gold. And what I'm having is T-Town. And they all have like some kind of chocolate flavoring to them. And yes, besides growing chocolate in Vietnam, they also grow cacao, which was something I learned about 2 years ago that I didn't know before. And they have wonderful beans. So um, I'm saying so too much. I'm very sorry. I was hoping to be able to look into my computer and see myself, and now the sun is glaring and I can't see. So if you're saying comments or anything, I'm gonna have to get back to you afterwards. So hello everybody. Appreciate you being here. And I'm gonna open up my coffee. Now, with a coffee and chocolate pairing, um, if you're drinking hot coffee, they say it's best to take a sip of the hot coffee first so that it gets a chance to open up the taste buds. I am drinking cold coffee, but we'll see how that goes. And then the whole trick is to use your senses. Okay, so let's go over the senses. We have sight, sound, smell, touch, and then taste. Okay, so even though I'm used to doing it touch last, that's harder. With coffee, you can look at the nice dark rich color. I don't know how you'll hear it, but maybe when you're brewing your coffee, you can hear it bubble. And smell. You know, when you're brewing the coffee, it smells delightful, or even if you sniff the bag, it smells wonderful. And you can smell the differences because we do have actually taste buds in our nose. Um, touch, well, this one's cold, but it can be warm. And then taste. Mm. All right, I'm going to show you the different chocolates that I picked out. And they have been sitting in this little cooler to stay cool. Isn't that delightful? Now, let me see. I showed you the wheels, okay, with the different flavors. So, yeah, coffee can have a lot of different flavors. Like this one says fruit, chocolate, and smoked caramel. So, since it has a caramel flavor, it would be good to have a chocolate bar that has caramel in it. So, let's go into the pile. And I have this, which is a caramel, sea salt, and dark chocolate. So it's the caramel that will mix well with the caramel of this. All right, start with that one. And since that also has sea salt, I'm going to ignore this one. This one is a brand I like, Sea Salt. It's actually made by Seattle Chocolate, and it's owned by women. And I think it's actually a mother-daughter. And they have beautiful packaging. All right, this is another part of, you know, uh, the enjoying your chocolate is looking at it. So it's not just looking at the chocolate, but a lot of the craft chocolate companies really make their packaging very distinct. So I'll show you more when I open this one up, but they make use of the inside. They use fine artists. Sorry, I'm putting back into the cold. This is a Jamaica, and it's called by Letterpress. Small batch bean to bar. When they say bean, they mean the beans in this ending up at the bar. So it's a pretty straight route they follow. And since this is called a single origin, so because it says Jamaica, all the beans come from Jamaica, and that gives it a more of a craft taste to it. The mass bars like Hershey's and M&M's, Mars, all those, they source beans from everywhere so that they get a consistent bland flavor. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of mass bars because they really process the heck out of them and they take out all the good nutritional content, like the theobromine, which is the feel-good ingredient in chocolate, and also which you get with the higher percent cacao bars and the purer ones. And it also gives you good energy, which is often what gets confused. People think there's a decent amount of caffeine in chocolate, and there really isn't much. There's definitely a ton more in coffee. But it's the theobromine in the good chocolate. And so when it comes to flavor, single origin means it comes from Jamaica or Colombia or all the different individual countries. And you can even go even further with flavors. And this speaks for coffee too. And you can go down to a single estate. It's sort of like, it's very much like wine where it's terroir. I can't even say the word terroir, Terroir. But it means of the land. So, you know, as grapes can taste differently depending on where they're grown, same thing with cacao beans and coffee beans. So this one, I'm just reading it. It's Letterpress is a company in LA, but he sources his beans from Jamaica. I'm gonna hold on to that one because I am also writing a book about, besides the fact that cacao is my spirit animal, I've been going down a whole lot of rabbit holes with chocolate. And besides having taken a course at Harvard or attended a seminar at Harvard University and connected with the educated staff there, and all right, am I back? Am I back? Hi, everybody. Is it back on? Give me a heads up. Can you see me? Okay, thanks. My phone overheated. Ah, so I'm gonna just hold it. I'm gonna hold it with the ice pack. All right, this is gonna be a little bit more of a challenge. The heat is gonna be a challenge. All right, where were we? Oh, the kinds of chocolate. Oh, I know. Hey, Ken, can you hold the phone with the ice pack for me? My lovely assistant, who shall remain off camera, will hold it for me. Hold on. Oh, okay. All right, all right. There we go. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Behind me, in case you want to know where this is a cider factory. Here, why don't we move this way? We have the. There we go. Look, we have trees again and shade. All right. Um. So yeah. So I told you about the single origin, and then I'm gonna move on to. I want to show you about this one. This is called a ruby chocolate, and it's actually a new kind of bean. They took about 10 years to develop the ruby. It's not this white chocolate dyed red or had a flavor added. They actually genetically modified it until it had this ruby flavored or whatever. And it's actually pretty good. It does have the consistency, that buttery sweet of white chocolate, but it's got that something extra. So instead of having a milk chocolate, I thought it would be good to have fun to have a ruby chocolate to try. So it'll have a good mouthfeel, the really high fat content, which will make up for the fact that I have no milk or no cream in my coffee because we wanted to have it straight up. So that's one of the other ones. Um, and here is, I got, these are peanut butter cups. These are an almond cup. And I've noticed almost with any coffee I've had, peanut butter cups, or this one's an almond cup because I'm not supposed to have peanut butter. But the nutty flavor really goes well with the nutty flavors of coffee. So it's like an instant. So that's why I got these. I will share with my lovely assistant the peanut butter one. And then I met the chocolate makers at Theo at a chocolate festival a couple years ago, and they paired this ginger with a deep roast. So it actually was quite surprisingly good. So that's why take the adventure and try something different. Because I would not normally have a ginger chocolate. It's a little bit, I don't know, too much tang. But apparently the tang counter the bitterness of the chocolate, and it ends up being that, for some people, that really amazing mouthfeel. 1 + 1 = 3. Um, oops. And then also I got these, let me see, it's called Moonstruck, but they're little truffles. And truffles are nice mouth, bite-sized pieces. And oftentimes they're easier to find in almost any place. Not your supermarkets, but like if you go to a chocolate store, most chocolate stores tend to specialize in making truffles. And oftentimes you'll see beautiful colors and, whatever the artist, chocolatier feels like making of the day for flavors and things like that. So that's another way to adventure with flavor, is go to a chocolate store and see what they have to offer up. All right. All right, so I'm going to open this up to show you when we were talking about the site. Sound. All right, we'll start with the site. All right, so it's nice to appreciate all the work that the craft chocolatiers put into it. So here you'll see that they have information on the endangered species that they help contribute to, the profits that go to. And then nice gold packaging. So it's good. It's appreciating. And you can take that kind of slowing down and mindfulness and apply it to your own life and slow down and appreciate lots of the way things are put together and look. And of course, I'm going to have to do this really fast because I can feel it already melting. All right. So the sound, besides the wrapping of this, is when there's a thing that's called a snap. So I'm going to put it up real close. See if you can, oh, I don't know if you could hear that. But that is also one of the ways to tell about the temper of the chocolate. So I'm going to be careful. I'm going to hand my assistant one. And this has the caramel in it to make up for the chocolate. So stay right there. I'm going to get my iced coffee. I'm back. Okay, so I have my iced coffee because it's, as I said, it's probably already in the 90s out here. It's going to get up into the hundreds and beyond. That's why we're in the shade, and that's why my phone died in the middle of this because it overheated with the temporary shade moving on me. It's all an adventure. I'm here to just try new things, right? And so are you. So, all right. So, cheers. Here's to coffee. And then, mmm. Finish it up. Oh, mmm. All right. You should let the chocolate melt in your mouth and really get across all the different taste buds, especially if it has a salty in it, because there's salt on different parts of your tongue, and the different flavors come up. So then you can repeat the process and see how things change over time. And that's how you taste and pair coffee and chocolate. So I gotta finish this piece before it melts in my hand because it's already doing it. I know, what fun. Mmm. All right, if you're following along at home, I hope you're sitting in air conditioning and you have hot coffee because I think the hot brings out the flavor. Oh, I got that good combination. That's really good. I highly recommend the caramel with this. Well, I would go on, but when you're doing a tasting at home, a flavor pairing, you can do it in a couple of ways. I do have a tasting mat that I created so that you could see the two different ways, and might be a bit much with coffee, depends on your tolerance for coffee. Um, but you could do like 3 or 4 kinds of coffee and 3 or 4 kinds of chocolate, and either mix and match or just do one on one, depending on that. Or you start with the 1 cup of coffee like we did here, and then try different chocolates with it to see which one gives you that. Wah! I love it. And even if you just have one coffee and one chocolate and you've tried it and you say, this is a pretty good way to have a cup of Joe, then hey, we've tried it new, right? All right. Well, before my phone goes and melts again, all right, I can sort of see since Ken is being great and holding it. Are there any questions anybody has? Doesn't look like it, especially since my phone died on me in the heat. Here, I'm gonna open up just so because I don't know how many people have tried a ruby chocolate, but I'm gonna open it up to show you. Ruby cacao beans. Oh, I wanted to talk about some fun facts too. Um, like back in the pirate days, back in the 1600s, not the golden age of the 1700s, but the 1600s, they didn't know what chocolate was. I mean, it was brought over to Spain in the early 1600s by um, Now I've dropped his name. Not Columbus. Columbus got it and he thought it tasted like dirt and he just ditched the whole thing. Cortez. And then Cortez came over and the Aztecs thought he was a predicted god. So they gave him, the cacao drink the way it's supposed to be made. So he brought back to Spain. They all loved it. They kept it a secret for like over 100 years. Crazy. So then in the 1600s, when the pirates first started raiding the Spanish galleons in the Caribbean, they had no idea what it was. They thought it was sheep poop, so they threw it overboard. And since we want to talk about coffee, he's not exactly a pirate, but there was this French naval officer, and I'm going to see if I can remember his name, Matthew Gabriel Cleo or something like that. And it was actually in the late 1600s, early 1700s. Louis Quatorze had a special garden, and he had been gifted a coffee plant because it comes from Ethiopia and then was grown in the Arabic countries. And so he was gifted a special plant, and it was put into a special greenhouse that he had built and kept it very well guarded. But this French naval officer wanted to bring it back to his, country in Martinique, and of course the king said no, 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 no. So apparently, this guy used his wily charms and charmed some lady of the court and got access to the greenhouse. Took a clipping, brought it back to Martinique, and he survived a ship, the old time ship crossing the ocean. He survived pirates trying to steal everything, survived a storm, all sorts of things. And then he planted it in Martinique, and that is the first of billions of other plants that now go all over the Caribbean. And that's how coffee got into this side of the world. Pretty interesting, right? And you know that chocolate started in Mesoamerica, and they think the first country was like somewhere around Guatemala, Ecuador. They found some like really, really old groves there, even though the blight wiped out a lot of them. And yes, cacao beans were once considered money. So when you hear about Cortez raiding the city of gold, actually, it was, I think, lots and lots of cacao beans. There was some gold, but there's also like millions of cacao beans stored. Anyway, all right. So, quick before this melts. All right, it's already starting to feel melty. All right, here's what it looks like. Am I showing it? See how pink it is? Pink all the way through. And I'm going to let Ken taste it because I've tasted it and it tastes. And now I'm licking my finger. Yum, 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 yum. All right. So, and my soapbox, okay? Why I don't want you eating Hershey's or the other mass brands, Nestle's and all that. If you look up online about forced child labor, or basically the fact that those big countries in West Africa are still basically, it's enslaved labor. So the cacao industry, the rest of the world is trying to help shift it so that they give everybody fair trade, right? So that's why you look for chocolate bars that say fair trade on it, because you know that the farmers are being paid a decent wage. Still not great, but a decent wage. And the deeper you go, the more you learn how cacao is really helping lift a lot of farmers up and out of poverty. So if you see a bar that costs more than $2 or $3 a bar, you know you are helping a lot of multiple smaller businesses along the way. That's my soapbox. Thank you very much for staying. Stay tuned because I'm going to finesse this and I'm going to put together a series of coffee pairings, chocolate pairings, and I will do it in a more professional setting where my phone doesn't die. So yes, I will be doing a series of like 5. And if you sign up for all of them, you'll get the 5th one free. And I am going to be setting up my webpage for all that soon. So stay tuned. All right. Thanks for joining me. Love you. Mwah. Bye.